obviously, you've been alluding to some of the immutable news that we want to talk about. You also mentioned just consolidation that's happened in this space. I think that's something that's been striking to me, is just seeing in terms of the various immutable partnerships. It feels like there's been a consolidation, and it's just really impressive to see where y'all as a company are coming out of 2023 in terms of the prowess you hold in the gaming space, in Web3, everything you're working on, what you're delivering from a product standpoint, from a partnership standpoint. So why don't you take us back? Like, let's look at this past year, 2023, for Immutable, and like walk us through how we've ended up here, how this happened.
Absolutely. I think you can't ignore the sort of very significant partnership we did with Polygon at the start of the year. And just to recap the context on that, Delphi Digital, I don't know if we can show the image somehow, released that research last year around estimating the market share for Web3 games by looking at the funding for each game on each blockchain or platform. And obviously, we have to use leading metrics like these, since even today, 97% of Web3 games that are building are not yet live. These are taking time, and roughly half of them are going live in 2024. And at the end of last year, Polygon and Immutable combined had roughly $1 billion each, and total 2/3 of all gaming investments in the space. So roughly 35% market share each. And it was very much a two-horse race. We basically sat down and said, well, look, how do we form a partnership that can really simplify the choice for game developers and make this much easier for people to build and help everyone be as successful as possible without having to spend countless weeks thinking about what part of the protocol or scaling layer of the stack do I use? What part of the platform layer of the stack do I use? What do I use for my wallet? What do I use for my payment on ramps and off ramps? These are not decisions that developers in Web 2 have to make beyond whether they use Unity or Unreal. And we want to make sure that we are simplifying as much as possible for the Web3 industry. And since that partnership, we've seen effectively our win rate has gone from 36% to close to 70% average competitive win rate for the year. So when we know where a deal goes to competitors, we're winning close to 70% of the time. We have jumped from, I think, roughly 90 to 100 games in November last year to well over 220 highly funded games today. And our testnet essentially developers, so people who are applying self-service to build on the platform, we don't have the capacity to talk to since we're mostly focusing on these bigger games, has jumped to more than 12,000. Not all of those are individual games, but a good chunk of them are. And our barbell strategy as a company is we want people to be able to build crypto natively with smart contracts on Immutable zkVM, which literally you'll be able to do within weeks with the launch of Immutable zkVM in beta at the end of this month. But the other thing is you can build using APIs and SDKs that are in Unity, that are Unreal, because our thesis is as this market explodes, your traditional Web2 developer will not want to learn smart contract security paradigms like reentrancy bugs. They're not going to want to learn new languages. They're not going to want to learn how you write smart contracts, or even how you should develop economies from scratch. They just want to build games that are better for players, have a great business model, and are highly sustainable. And that means they want to build with a Stripe-like set of APIs, which is what we built with Immutable. So this is really our approach, and it means we can have huge games build, games like Aglet, who initially we didn't even know they were building because they just started building on us self-service. So that's how our architecture is built from that perspective. We then just recently announced, as you know, the Merit Circle partnership, which is really another one of these major forms of strategic partnerships where we can simplify the choice for game developers. Merit Circle is the largest Web3 gaming DAO in the world. They have a $100 million cash treasury. They have a much larger native treasury. And they are incredibly experienced in building products for games. So I think it's pretty clear it's very tough to compete with Immutable Polygon in market if you're trying to bring them onto your own sort of protocol. But if you're working with us, we can massively reduce costs, and the opportunities for you to build with every single one of the games on our platform today is enormous. And so I think that's another step where we're reducing costs for games, we're reducing costs for players, and we're helping everything get to market faster. And of course, we had the G7 DAO market research come out this year as well, which basically said, this trend of market dominance has continued. We've seen 65 migrations, according to that report, and 56 of those were to Polygon Immutable. And so we're really seeing not only just new games onboarded, but also a lot of other games choosing to come build on Immutable. So I'm incredibly excited by the pipeline today. I think we're going to be announcing a very large number of games over the next 3 months. Roughly half of our pipeline is actually unannounced, even as of today, which didn't reflect in some of those G7 numbers. So look, the thing I'm most excited about is launch of Immutable ZKVM and these games going live. We have games like Illuvium with 2 million people on the wait list, which just launched on the Epic Store. We have games like Guild of Guardians with day 1 and day 7 retentions of 67% and 46%, way beyond world class, even with the golden cohort halo effect. We're going to see games with 1 million or 10 million daily active users. Already Imview has 750,000 daily active users as they transition into a full Web3 on Immutable. So this is what I'm most excited about over the next 3-6 months.
You touched on some of the big partnerships that obviously y'all have embarked on this year, Merit Circle, Polygon, but there's been others. I mean, you've onboarded some big folks. You've got Ubisoft in there, you've got AWS. Maybe touch a little bit on those partnerships and as we talk about 2023 for Immutable.
Absolutely. I mean, Ubisoft, obviously, we're really excited to bring on one of the largest games companies in the world to create a frictionless experience for Web3 gamers. We will be showing more details on the precise nature of this, but we will be working very closely with that team. And that was a deal I think took close to 8-9 months to put together. So, I mean, this is, I think, where the professionalism of our go-to-market team really helps. Unlike a lot of other teams in the space, we're really focusing on how do we completely understand the technical requirements of what you're trying to build? How do we understand what the user experience requirements are? We have a full business development team and solutions engineering team and partner success team. We have a huge ecosystem team now that is connecting you to everyone from investors, if you want it. I think we have a network of more than 50 aligned investors in Immutable. We have people who can help market your game. We can help essentially with any part of the game design or economics process because we're building this internally. And this is what our vision is for how we can provide support to these games. And all of those muscles are required to onboard some of these giant game studios because they want to make sure that their brand will be protected. They can't